Hi, welcome to the new episode of Sportsy Let's Aim Sports. Today we have with us a girl from Pakistan who is one of the youngest footballer to ever play for the national team. Please welcome Abiha Haider. Abiha is one of the youngest women footballer to represent Pakistan ever. She has played at the club level for Balochistan United. She also played for Pakistan Shaheens in the Australian Football League International Cup 2017. Abiha Haider is a member of National Youth Council, which is led by Honorary Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Imran Khan. Being a promoter of equality and peace, Abiha works closely with social causes to spread the awareness. Abiha is one of the 30 most powerful Muslim women in sports globally. Please welcome Pakistan football player, two-time Guinness World Record holder, captain of AFL Pakistan, a TED speaker, a lawyer, and a Pride of Pakistan awardee 2020, Abiha Haider. Thank you for watching, thank you for liking, and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe on our channel Sportsy Says and help us spread the word about Sportsy. We go with the same handle Sportsy Says across all the social media platforms and the podcast. Hi Abhiya, great to have you on Sportsy, the platform where we talk about aspirational, inspirational, and motivational aspects of sports. And it is so great to have you. There's a big list of accolades at a very young age that you have, and we want to hear about those over the next 30 minutes of chat that we're going to have. For the viewers and the listeners of our chat show, while we get to hear a lot of things from Abhiya, I just want to give a small introduction. Abiha is a Pakistan footballer who plays as a midfielder for the Pakistan women national team, one of the youngest player who ever played football for national team in Pakistan. Other than that, she is as a profession, she just completed her law, so she's a lawyer. She is one of the 30 most influencer Muslim sportswomen, I think, across the world, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, yeah, across the world.
Yes, a TEDx speaker, and with all this thing that you're talking about, she's just 25 and 25. So I think she's not in 25. So we know that what kind of personality is a strong personality, having amazing thought process towards equality, sports as a medium, and uplifting the society at the same time using sports as a platform, and also recently been. I think very recently she has been she got added as a member of the National Youth Council, which is led by Honorary Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Imran Khan, and one of the cricketing legend or the sporting legend of the world. So congratulations on that, Abia. And I just gave a small introduction, want to hear from you about your journey while growing up in Pakistan. What made you come into football and as well as the AFL, which is the rugby and football together?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much, Sid, for having me on the show. And obviously, we have been trying to have this show since a long time. But fortunately, finally, we're now here together recording an episode for your wonderful channel. And I went through your channel, your amazing work, your videos, and I'm very proud to be here on the show today, finally. Of course, you've given a very sort of beautiful introduction of me. I started playing football when I was 12 from Sambat, which is the capital of Pakistan. And basically, what brought me into football was not me or my passion. That was basically my parents pushing me into football. And I was at that time really not interested, because being from subcontinent, I would speak upon for the people of India as well, because we are naturally inclined towards cricket, since our childhood. And none of us actually think to go or to pursue any other sport rather than cricket. So likewise, I myself was also much inclined towards cricket. I used to play cricket with my cousins, my brother, my dad, and everyone at home. And one day out of the blue, I just heard my parents talking that, they are finally, yeah, like they are, they were actually planning a conspiracy against me to push me into a football field so that I can give out my summer vacations. I could spend my summer vacations over there. And I was very much, in order to fail their conspiracy, I spoke to my sister and I was like that I'll just go and give out the trials. And I know I would fail. Obviously, I'm no good in football. So, who would take me in the team? and I'll come back, and then we'll reune all our summer vacations, watching late night movies, playing Ludo games with cousins, and all that stuff, which we do in the very much Brown families. So yeah, I went with my parents to the ground and I gave out the trials for the Sambat football team, the capital football team. And fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. Unfortunately, at that time, 12, when I was around 12 years of age, my coach came to my parents and he was like that she knows half of the game, and we're gonna teach her, coach her towards the other half, and we'll groom her. And National Women Football Championship is coming around in 2 months, and we would be like very honored to have her in the team, and stuff like that. So finally, I got to know that shackles have been put into my hands. I am formally like caged into this field by my parents, and I can no longer run around the streets or cycle around the streets, or running after having the doorbells of the neighbors, and doing all that stuff. But yeah, my footballing journey started from there. It was 2009, summer vacations around about May, June. And I finally, obviously when I started playing football, then I realized that okay, I have the passion for this game, and now I want to excel in it. I would put all my hard work, and obviously I would do justice with the game. I would no longer go in the ground, waste my time or the time of my families, and just for the sake of um, being in the ground. So I started playing. I did all my hard work on the team, on the field, and 2 months later, I represented the Capitals team in the National Women Football Championship, scored my first goal in the first match in the 2 minute of the match.
Wow.
That was basically the most motivating and groundbreaking moment for me, which actually made me realize that, okay, I have the passion for this game. And this is something which I would do now because I was uplifted to the core of it. And right after there and then, I gave it all out on the field. 6, 7 months down the line, I was selected to represent the Pakistan national team. First, I was called for the camp, for the women football team camp, and around 60 plus girls from all over Pakistan were called for that national team camp. And obviously, there were 3 to 4 rounds of selection. It was a very hard and fast rule, getting into the national football team. But God was great. I made my mark in the National Football Championship, in the national football team, and I represented Pakistan in the 11th South Asian Games, Bangladesh 2010, when I was around 13.5. And I was one of the
Wow.
youngest one to represent Pakistan internationally at such a young age. So obviously, it was a very proud moment. And since then, like 12 years from now, like the journey is quite long. You have already said a lot about it in your introduction. Yeah, so you want to hear it all, or we can just skip that part
No,
because it's a long journey.
no. So then in that case, then I will probably have only one question through in the 30 minutes. So let me ask you some more questions. But
Exactly, that is the reason I asked that we should cut it short, because that's a whole long story.
yes, but one thing we know that the conspiracy really worked, and it worked by your parent. I think it worked wonders for
Yep.
the country, getting you the youngest player to ever represent and giving a direction
One of
and
the
being
youngest. I have two of my other friends as well who shared the same age as me. So I would like to clarify that one of the youngest. So like the 3 of us were in the same age group. So
wow.
that's fair
Uh,
for all of us.
Excellent, and that is you're talking about almost 30% of the team at the same of the age. I think you pulled down the average age of the team by probably a few years. Three of you.
A lot younger than that.
Yeah, interesting. But whatever happened, I think the thing you spoke about is so wonderful that you always had a chance to play. You're playing multiple sports, and this is something that your parents wanted to probably channelize your energy towards, and that worked wonder. But
Yeah.
as a kid and beyond that, you have achieved so many things, and we wish many more things coming your way. But in the whole journey, what has all been your inspiration? What has been your who has been your inspiration? What has been your motivation? And what do you aspire to be?
Actually, for me, at that time when I started playing football, and today, if we talk about any other young girl like me, at that time. If today we would ask this question, that what is your inspiration, that right now a 9-year, 10-year-old girl is started playing football. I guess for me back then, 12 years back, the question would was relatively very different, because at that time I did not actually had a role model in football to look up to and to get my inspiration from, because at that time football in Pakistan was at a very, very developing stage, and we did not had any role models in women, by whom we can actually persuade our friends that okay, that person has achieved so much into football, so I would want to be like that. Or to our families, or to our external families, who obviously came up as sort of a barrier in my footballing career back then, not now but back then. So what my inspiration basically was, or from where I derived my inspiration, was that at that time I did not had any role model to look up to. So I wanted myself to be that sort of role model, or I wanted myself to be that sort of change for my country, for my people, for the kids of my country, that 10-year down the line, 12-year down the line, they would have role models, they would have people, a complete package who they would look up to, and who they would tell their families or their extended families or their friends that okay, we do not want to relatively follow a path of just to be an engineer per se, or a doctor. We can actually follow a path of sports, and we can be a sports person, a sports woman, like this girl has been. So that was basically my inspiration, that I wanted to work so hard in the next 10 years, that down the line, after I have established myself in a way, I could actually be a sort of a person young people can look up to and can derive their inspiration from.
Excellent. But at such a young age, deciding all those things, we also read somewhere that you also decided to become a lawyer in your sixth grade. So I think you have decided a lot of things for yourself during the young age. But what kept you motivated when you said that football was developing? It was not a prime. It is still in the South Asian region. I think football is still not that prominent the way cricket is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and you're still talking about 15, 12, 13 years back. So what kept you motivated to keep giving your best all the time, and what was that inner thing for you?
Actually, there was this thing that obviously, women or girls, we are not given opportunities on such scales, and far, far, far away in sports. Like none of the person could even think. I still remember that when I joined football, my male cousins or my relatives used to laugh upon me that this is a male dominated sport. You can't even play football, or you're no good in football. You can't even play football with your cousins, let away you're trying to play football for Pakistan, that sort of energy. So that sort of negative energy. So for me, I guess when I started countering all those energies back, and when I started putting a close dot to my ears that sorry, no more negative energy would now impact me. And there was also an instance that I wanted to fight my own fears as well, and I wanted to fight my own failures as well. I have encountered my failures in education back then, because I used to have these fear of failing. But then when I entered football, I realized that, okay, now this is where my strength actually lies. And through that, through the platform of sports, I finally learned how I should fight my fears, my fear of, for instance, losing my friends, my fear of, for instance, failing in education and stuff like that. So when I finally started getting success in football, I thought that okay, now I have to obviously complete my education as well, because in order to become a role model, you
Yeah.
can't actually be a role model just on the success of being a sports person. You need to have a complete package. You need to be a complete package.
Yes.
So obviously for that I have to complete my education. And why law? Because I have almost, like, since forever my parents have been working for civil society and human rights and all that. They have their interest in that. So basically I have derived that interest as well from my family. And obviously for working for women empowerment, working for children's, working for human rights, and obviously as a path to give back to the society, I wanted to pursue law. So I did my OA levels, and in 2017 I joined my university. Fortunately, because of sports, I got a 100% scholarship from University
Right.
of London, and I completed my bachelor's in law. And right now I am completing my master's in law. And yeah.
Excellent. I think that is so good. I think the upbringing in the family itself was pretty good about giving you the clarity of thought. It's not only about sports; it's about the causes that they were working for. I think you took it to next level and actually convert. And one thing you really said well is about doing having education. Actually created the holistic approach about you being an athlete and a right role model. It's not only about sports, it's not only about education. I think the combination of both. And people have said, right, it's like I think education helps you become a good decision maker on the field, and sports
I
helps you
agree.
become,
Of course.
and sports helps you study fast because you're so focused.
I agree. I agree. And of course, smart studying, because being a person of having legal education right now, even I have a whole chunk of books lying in front of me, and studying law books which with this words. A person, a normal sane person would collapse by only seeing the width of this book.
I
And i
I
have
can.
to i have to go through tons of these books. So like my friends, they actually study whole book, each and every page. And for me, I only do smart study. Okay, that is my key towards success. And I actually get to know, I just go over the book and I know what is the important part for me to study, rather than I keep my focus on each and every line. So I guess sports teaches us a lot to manage our time, to
Right.
manage our routine, not to, and obviously keeping us sane from here as well.
Right.
Because playing sports and reading tons of lengthier books, it collapses you from the mind, and sports
Yes.
fixes me from here.
And and I think football is helping you about it's about one goal, right? So it's you're always driven by the goal. Midfield, attacking midfield, I think everywhere you are just focused on scoring a goal. So I think
Of course.
it also helps. Now about that topic about midfield and attacking midfield. One is football, which is like soccer football, and one is AFL,
Yep.
where you play rugby and football together. It's a different game altogether.
Yep.
How did that happen? Actually, I had never heard of that thing, and you actually went ahead and played for Pakistan team and captained that, and in AFL championship for the. Uh, what is it, and how did actually that collaboration happen?
Okay, so for AFL, I actually heard about it for the first time in 2017, around March. One of my friend called me and she asked me that there's these football trials happening in a nearby stadium, and she was going, so she wanted me to accompany her as well. So I thought, I asked her that what is this football about? AFL, Australian Football League. What is this about? So she gave me a bit of a summary of it, that it's not like a regular football thing. It's a combination of football and rugby, and it's more like a physical sport and stuff like that. So just to accompany her, I went to the trials, and over there, the person who was right then the manager, he knew me, because
Mhm.
obviously of my name of in football, and obviously my career as a footballer, he knew me.
Yeah.
And he spoke to me and he was like that there's this international tournament happening in Australia, and I'm taking this team, and I would really want you to have to be in the team as well, and it would be an inspiration for the team, for all the young girls and stuff like that. But by then I knew nothing about AFL, so I asked him that, who would be coaching us and what exactly is this thing all about. So he
Mhm.
gave me a overview about everything, and then I realized that at that time he has registered the AFL in the Australian League, Australian Cup, but we actually did not had any coach to coach us AFL
Oh.
footy. And at that time I heard about the game for the very first time as well. And obviously I saw the girls over there in the ground, they're waiting themselves to be coached, but there was no coach. So that guy, I spoke to him, I was like, what are you trying to do? You are actually sending a women's team and a men team as well, but we were at that time only concerned with the women. Like I was only concerned with the women. So I told him that you're sending a team over there, and you do not have a coach to coach us. And if we are
Mhm.
traveling international, where does it lie our reputation? What would be happening? So finally I decided that okay, I would take a charge. I learned that game over YouTube, and I planned all that training sessions for the girls. I used to train them each day. I went through all the selection processes for them, got a team selected, and finally there were like quite ups and downs happening in the management, because obviously I sort of took over because the reputation of Pakistan was at stake.
Yeah.
So finally, the team traveled to Australia. We participated in the International Cup. Pakistan was the first ever Muslim country to have participated in the AFL Footy League. By the end of the tournament, I was awarded the best and fairest player for the tournament. Yeah, we came back there. We were like pretty much appreciated, highlighted by the international media. Pakistan team did wonders on the field. Obviously, like coming for the first time, playing for the first time, and giving a
Yeah.
good show. That was pretty much morale boosting for us. And that's it. AFL.
Interesting. I think that is the interesting stories about just making it happen, and finally the pride of Pakistan had to be maintained, so you took it over and delivered it. I think it is that again that is.
Fortunately.
Yeah, and again, see that shows the quality of an athlete or a sportsman, where the the country, the flag comes above everything. It's a patriotism. It's finally you have to defend your country, you have to defend your flag, and that's everybody's dream is to stand on the podium and see the flag of the country and hear the national anthem. Right? That's the dream of every athlete. So
Honestly.
yeah, so kudos to that. But to reach to this stage, you started early, but and when the football in Pakistan wasn't that great, and we always again as I'm sitting in India here, and we always get to hear about multiple stories about Pakistan and the media it has to talk about. There is a struggle about inequality and about the development or infrastructure and all those things which you faced while those days. But over the next 10, 12 years, where you are right now, where you are an influencer, you can make change happen. You are part of the Prime Minister's council, youth
National
council, and
Youth
everything,
Council. Yeah.
National Youth Council. What is the charter that you feel is there for the next generation not to face any struggle, or at least have accessibility towards the sports what they want to pursue?
I guess specifically talking about football, we are still in a very sad stage right now because of the fact that obviously the world knows that we are sort of banned by FIFA
Yeah.
because of the internal conflicts going on. If this position would not have been here by 2014, Pakistan women football team have had made its ranking up the FIFA chart to
Yes.
a level that in the next 10 years on or in the next one decade we would have seen a rapid growth in the football arena in Pakistan. But just for the fact that because of these conflicts, which are right now never ending, and it's a very sad state of affair that the power struggle has reached to an extent where the future of sports persons are being compromised. And wherever this is happening in Pakistan, I've been witnessing it
Yes.
firsthand, or even in other countries wherever this is happening. It's a very sad state of affair for the sports persons because
Correct.
for a fact that we give so much into football, we live football for entirely all our life. Like for me, I'm 25 right now, and the past 12 years I have actually spent in the football ground, in the football arena. So like it's very sad right now to witness that we can no longer participate in the international tournaments which we have in the past and which we have beaten international teams in the past as well. So for the young generation coming up, I just really hope that the FIFA ban should be lifted as soon as possible. Moreover, for my own self, like I am continuously working for all what I can do to
Yeah.
create path for all the young women or young girls or boys coming up this field, and actually becoming a voice wherever I can. And even I guess a sad part is that when there is one person or 2% or three of us speaking about the whole nation or crisis or a situation of crisis, I guess we should actually appreciate that there is someone who is becoming a voice for Pakistani football internationally.
Right.
Because one thing we witnessed throughout the world is professional jealousy. I'm so sorry to say that, but professional jealousy. And that is one thing which collapses you like no other.
Yeah.
And I have been recovering from that phase since forever now. But obviously, when God is with you, when there are so many people standing with you, I guess you are unstoppable. And I guess by each coming day, I am sort of trying to prove myself that I am unstoppable for the future of Pakistan, and inshallah, aspiring to be a change for the young blood.
Inshallah, I think that should happen. And we see the sports helps in developing the countries. It helps in social development, economic development, everything. And I think that should happen for any place because finally sports unites everything. And that's what even we see even the United Nations and the Sustainable Development Goals talking about having sports as a part of the Sustainable Development Goals. Even UN is talking about it. So I think it is amazing, and your kudos to your work and more power to you, girl. Go there and make it happen. That is what we want to see. I just saw your post about how 2014, I think Pakistan had climbed from 12, 13 ranking immediately, and then after that everything went for a toss. So yeah, I think it will come back, and we want it to come back with more and more power. So while we are talking about football, you also set some two Guinness records. I don't know people
Yeah.
how many people know about setting up the Guinness records for the reasons that you have. So can we know about the longest matches and what all things you've done to achieve those records?
Yeah, of course. So, Guinness World Record is a story. I was invited over there by FIFA. Like, there's this organization, Equal Playing Football. So that is this organization. It's an international organization which creates stuff regarding football and sets up Guinness World Records. In that stuff, for example, they have played the world's highest altitude football match on the Mount of Kilimanjaro. Then they have played the world's lowest altitude match in Jordan. And the third was, which I was called for as well. That was the world's longest ever football match. So that match, I was from the whole world. 10 sports persons were specifically sponsored by FIFA to come and represent their country into that Guinness World Record. And from Pakistan, I was called and I went there. And we played the first football match. That was 70 hours of football,
Wow.
70
Wow.
hours straight. And the second was the only football match which was played by 65 plus nationalities. So like 65 nationalities playing one 11 on 11 football match. Obviously, there were substitutions happening.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. And there was another thing, I don't know if you know about it or not, but this 70 plus hours of the longest ever football match, um, I made I met the footballers from India on my plane from Dubai to Leon. Yeah.
Okay.
So we were sitting together. From their jerseys, I recognized that they are probably going for the same event as I am. So I spoke to them over that on that plane. We became good friends, and we were good friends throughout the flight. And the organizer who came to pick us, he picked us all together. So like there were 4 of them from India, and I was the only one from Pakistan. And we were living together at like our rooms were near to each other at the apartments we're living in. And I over there decided that let's play a unity match. Let's show unity um, around the world. And over there, India and Pakistan joined together, and we named our team India/Pakistan, and we played the Guinness World Record together against the European team, where we both contributed towards that 70 hours long match, and we together registered our name, like the name of our nations, India and Pakistan, for the Guinness World Record.
Wow. It is
And it rapidly went all over on the social media, on the Twitter, and I was being tagged by all these newspapers from India as well as from Pakistan that, a girl from Pakistan decided to show unity across the world, and with the notion that sports bring us together.
Yes.
So that was a great moment, and I have them on all my socials. We speak to each other regularly. We're like very good friends. So yeah, that's a good memory from Guinness World Record.
And It's one side is the Guinness World Record, one side is playing the longest game, and another thing is you're talking about the sports brings people together. At one side, we're talking about so many other the social economic issues and other political issues, but having a team together for unity, playing it, I think kudos to you. I think that shows the maturity in the thought process and the vision.
I'll send you the link of that article
Yes,
Indian people have written upon me and
I
us
would.
playing football.
That will be wonderful to look at, and I'm sure I will also find that. Now I know it, I'm also going to look for it. It wasn't something that I knew. uh, yes, and that is the unfortunate, again, you're talking about, that is the unfortunate part, that people in the sports also not aware of some things which are happening. So that is it's my bad that I don't know about it, but I think it is going to be the story for everything that I speak. Whenever I speak, I think this is going to be the story. So thank you, Abiba, for that. That is Abiba for that. That is wonderful. Uh, okay, so I'll come to the athlete part of your thing. Is about every athlete is fighting two battles. One is a physical and one is a mental. Uh, and with so many other pressures around, the mental battle becomes sometimes too big. So how do you think the mental conditioning actually has helped you, or when was the time they actually understood the importance of mental conditioning, and you're trying to pass it on to the next generation?
Oof, I guess mental health is far, 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 far much harder a journey than being an actual physical sports person or your physical regular training. Because if this collapses, you are actually done. You're actually done from everything. And the
Yes.
era we're moving in right now, we have family pressures, we have education pressures, we have job issues, we have friends showing around tantrums to us for us being too busy. And then we have obviously these our sort of colleagues or our sort of competitors who per se from their own mind become our competitors when we are in no mind of indulging into anyone else's work, and we are only focused towards our own journey. So obviously it's very hard to cope up with all these stuff going on with us mentally. And for me, okay, there's this thing that I take a lot of mental pressure, because
Okay.
there's so much going on in my mind actually, that even if I show you my phone, it's bombarded from WhatsApp messages, like anything. There are my friends complaining that I am too busy to meet them. There is my family complaining, there is my extended family complaining, then there are my competitors, so-called competitors, complaining with long voice messages, ranting on some issue past 10 years back or something. I don't know. So for me, what I do is I do self talk, and which is one thing which helps me. I talk to my own self. I don't get advices going around and crying to each other, crying in other people's faces, or ruining someone else's mental health. I talk to my own self. I sit alone in my room in dark, and then I go through a mental process that what is happening around. And if some situation is disturbing me, I recall about it, and I think that if that situation is worth enough to disturb my mental strength, or if there is some uh, you know uh, something by which I can fix it actually, or if that situation is not at all worthy enough that I should disturb my peace over it. So I just do self talk, and I just talk to my own self. Sometimes I go harsh upon myself, like I scold my own self in front of the mirror, and I'm like, hey, dude, this was your mistake, you need to fix it, okay? Like if there's no one scolding me, I should scold my own self as well, because reality checks is well needed here.
Right.
So self talks help me, and I guess that is what brings me to an entire new sane person the next morning, and then I'm good to go with the smile coming on.
Excellent, and I think that smile should always be on, and that's what the sports teaches us as well. It teaches us to stand up when we fall down. Nobody's there to
Yeah.
give you a hand. You have to do it yourself, and but there are
Then
everybody
I
else to
guess
take you along.
I guess for me, falling down is more important, because whenever I fall down, it makes me certain that I am, getting up towards another victory. So whenever I get a lash back, or whenever I fell down, I am completely certain inside me that okay, something is coming and I'm, achieving another step further. So I'm now pretty much okay with it.
Excellent. I think that is a nice way of looking at the situation, and that shows the
Yeah.
mental strength that you have, and this mental strength has got you to the one of the top 30 Muslim sportswomen across the world. What does that
Yep.
actually mean to you, and what does it mean to you from keeping a legacy for yourself after years together?
I guess that's great. I mean, listening, waking up one morning and getting this email from this Muslim Women's Sports Network UK that I've been named as one of the top 30 powerful Muslim sports women in the world.
Yeah.
So that was something which I did not even knew how to express this thing. Like for 1 hour, I was actually thinking that, okay, like from the whole country, I've been named as this thing. And this is not even for Asia or South Asia or Europe or something. It's like for the whole world. Like from India, Miss Sania Mirza was selected.
Yes.
Her name was there. So obviously, like it was a great feeling. But for me, such awards put more burden, because obviously when you have been named on such level, you need to improve yourself again.
Yes.
And it obviously, then you need to reflect back on yourself, and you need to fill those little gaps, because obviously no one is perfect. I'm certainly not. I have many loopholes, many gaps as well, which I am working each day, or which I need to work in further future. So it every other award comes with great responsibility, great burden as well, and by which you need to reevaluate your own self, and then you need to further strengthen your own personality so that you can actually justify getting that award.
Excellent. I think that is something so great, and it, as you said, it puts extra pressure on you to deliver. But I think that pressure is required for when you are a role model at a certain level. So amazingly well put it. Uh, One more last two questions for you for now. I hope I get to chat with you again more whenever your time permits. But you've
100%.
been, yeah, you've been included in the National Youth Council by Honorary Prime Minister Imran Khan. Imran Khan is known as one of the it's a hero, right? He's like, even in India, I think he was always admired the most, probably most admired cricketer from Pakistan or athlete from Pakistan was Imran Khan all the time. And luckily he's the prime minister. I don't go to political issues of it, but there is a vision of being an athlete or sports, and you as a sportswoman has been part of the council. What is the charter that sports that you may have, that sports can actually build a nation in your
Yeah,
vision?
I guess this, in my vision or in the vision of
In the,
National Youth
yeah,
Council.
in national, in the vision of National Youth Council, but when you came
Okay,
in on board.
for now, obviously, we have recently this youth council have been organized, and we are yet to have our first board meeting. We have had our regular online sessions and orientation and stuff, but obviously due to COVID, we all have to now go through our vaccination processes and all. So like
Yeah.
we can further actually come as an assembly and sit across each other on a table. But I guess for me, this step by the PM, by Mr. Imran Khan, has been a great step, because right now he is actually giving a voice towards the young heroes, not only in sports but in other areas as well. For example, climate or journalism or international relations. We have a representative from each and every field.
Right.
We have 33 heroes from their respective fields, and I guess right now this is a very important step, because he has actually given a voice to the sports youngsters, then a voice to other youngsters in their own respective fields. And what we can actually provide, or what we can actually how we can actually improvise the situation of sports, the top heads or the old men, for instance, cannot do that, because we are first hand facing all those challenges, or
Right.
we have first-handed faced all those challenges. So I guess right now he has given a representation to the youth to actually lead their respective areas, their own self. And I guess that this is a great moment, and I really hope that I can make my mark in this as well, and finally I can be somewhat of youth actual use for the youth as well.
Wow. And I think that is what you said. The right step forward is probably half the battle won in the
Yeah,
right
yeah.
direction, and that is what it shows, that the youth is getting the voice and the sports getting represented in that. I think it is very important because
Yep.
it's very much required for attitude building. Sports brings the different attitude,
Yep.
and that is required for any country. It could be developed country, underdeveloped country, like countries like us, which are like India, Pakistan, which are perpetually developing countries. It's any at any level. I think that is something is very, very, very crucial. So my last question to you, Abia, I think is what is the message that you have for all the girls playing sports and the change that sports can bring to their life about equality, independence, and identity?
I guess my message would not specifically be for the women, for the girls of Pakistan, but it would be
Yeah.
for the women worldwide.
Yes.
That sports is a beautiful field. It gives you ease physically, it gives you strength physically, it gives you strength mentally, and for that it gives you a chance to know your own self, and then it gives you a chance to build your own self by your own hands, basically.
Right.
Not about not you just not need to go through a certain curriculum or books to in order to shape yourself, but your experiences, your way of meeting new people, and your way of indulging with your own life by your own self is how you shape your own self and how you write your own self by your own hand. So I guess sports is a wonderful field. One should obviously come into sports, and one very important thing is that your character actually defines who you are and what are your limits. So
Yes.
just have your character very, very strong, and then sky's the limit.
Excellent. I think wouldn't have had any better message than this from and anybody listening and all the viewers. This message is not coming from only a footballer, not only an athlete, but one of the top 30 most powerful sports Muslim women in the world. So you better take it seriously. That is what that is what it means. It shows the whole journey that you showed, that your journey is built on whole grit and determination, its vision, its clarity, and wish you all the best, Abia, for all the things. You're just 25. You sound, but you sound so mature with the whole journey, what you have been focused on, and you have long career ahead of you. And we wish you all the very best. And it is more power to you towards bringing more power to equality, sports mechanism, sports as a platform, developing the nation, and being an icon and idol that you want to be.
Thank you so very much, and I absolutely enjoyed being on your show. And it was such a casual yet such a worth listening to conversation right now, and very comfortable communication. And I really hope that we would share the screen again.
Yes.
And all the very best to you, and for hitting your century very fast, and then double
Yeah.
century and then triple century. All the very best to you.
Inshallah. Yes, that is what I can say. It's
Yeah,
just want to go
perfect.
there. Thank you, Abia. Wish you all the best and take care and stay safe.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe on our channel Sportsy Says and help us spread the word about Sportsy. We go with the same handle Sportsy Says across all the social media platforms and the podcast.